With your help from every part of the historic vehicle community, the Federation of British Historic Vehicle Clubs has pulled together all of the information we need for the 2020 National Historic Vehicle Survey. At the FBHVC, we like our stats. It instructs what we do, what policies we take, and what causes we fight for on the behalf of the historic vehicle community across the country. And the results of the 2020 National Historic Vehicle Survey are in. Just to remind you that a historic vehicle is defined as being 30 years or older and includes a wide range of vehicle types from cars to steam engines. If it has an engine and it's 30-something, it's very likely to be included in these results. So back to the survey. This is quite a remarkable survey, with more than 15,000 of you taking the time to fill in our online questionnaire. That's a huge number by any standard. The respondents were all talking about their historic vehicles, and there were more than 32,000 vehicles in total reflected in the results. So, with the basic background information out of the way, what can we tell you about the results? As you probably know, the whole idea of this survey is to inform people about the importance of the historic vehicle movement in Britain, and that has to start with the question, how many? So, just how many historic vehicles are there? 4 years ago there were just over 1 million historic vehicles. Many were cars, but also bikes, tractors, and even steam engines were included as well. Bring that up to date, and in 2020, that figure has grown to 1.5 million historic vehicles in Britain today. So, 1.5 million vehicles is a pretty big number, but how many actual owners are there? Last time around, that estimate was a little under 500,000. And bringing that figure up to date, it now looks more like 700,000. That's around 1% of the UK population owning at least one historic vehicle. And we could spend all day wondering about what those historic vehicles do, but we don't need to. The survey reveals quite a bit there as well. For example, for those vehicles on the road, average mileage comes in at around 1,200 miles a year. So these are not day-to-day vehicles used throughout the year on a weekly basis. In fact, they're taken out so infrequently that they are actually quite a rare commodity on our roads. Okay, so let's keep the pace up and move on. They say money talks, so how much is being spent? Well, last time around there was an estimated spending figure of £5.5 billion. That included anything from engine upgrades to driving jackets. Bringing that figure up to date, and it's more like a whopping £7.2 billion being spent each year on anything and everything connected to historic vehicles. The survey can go much further and isolate the value of spending coming in from overseas, and this reveals just how important the industry that backs up the movement actually is. And that's a neat segue into the next and final area that we need to talk about: jobs. According to experts, there are nearly 4,000 businesses operating in the sector. And these can be anything from car dealers to lubricant manufacturers and coachwork providers, moulders to welders and restorers. The survey tells us that there are more than 30,000 jobs that are directly focused on the trades and skills associated with historic vehicles. And that brings me nicely to our last topic: apprenticeships. An encouraging figure, an estimated 12% of businesses in the sector are already operating some form of trainee apprenticeship. That's around 500 businesses. But what's perhaps more encouraging for young people looking to get into our industry is that far more businesses seem to be planning apprenticeship schemes or would consider doing so in the future. And that's great news for the industry as a whole in this country. So that's it. That rounds up the headline results from the 2020 National Historic Vehicle Survey by the FBHVC. In conclusion, it seems to suggest that the future is looking pretty bright for the historic vehicle movement in Britain, and that's a massive well done from everyone at the Federation. If you're interested and want to learn more, then visit the Federation website, where more information will be available shortly. In the meantime, have fun riding and driving your historic vehicles and keep getting them out there for everyone to enjoy.